Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel. I know you love it when I say it that way. Okay, what is going on? Skies are clearing here in the Caribou, and down south they will soon follow suit as well. By Tuesday, we should have mainly clear conditions in the province of British Columbia. However, we got a new system that's developing off the coast there, the mid-latitude cyclone. And as it digs in down there, it's going to create some instability on Wednesday that will mostly likely affect Washington State. We do have a risk of tornadoes down there. It's a marginal risk. It's not a big one, but we could see a tornado on the ground, which would be highly unusual in Oregon, for example, at that time, Washington State. And some of that may reach into southern British Columbia. However, I'm not thinking that we're probably the area where the worst of it's going to be. So I'm not saying there's a tornado risk for BC. We're outside the marginal risk zone, and we're just in the thunderstorm risk zone in southern BC. We'll talk about all of that, and we'll talk about the storm coming in. We'll talk about how northern BC is going to stay kind of winterish, but southern BC, spring is here now, friends. Rejoice. Okay, let's go. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Get on! Wow. I'll watch the video later. They try mopping this. What's meteorologist Chris Calais saying? He's down in Portland right now. Of course, that's where he lives, and he's sometimes on our show, Meteorological Report. Tune in Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. here on the channel, Pacific Standard Time. Hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Joey on the Caribou Weather Dude, by the way. So what Chris is saying, I've never seen severe storms here in March. Usually if we see them, it's late April to September. That's the best chance. And he says, by best chance, I mean, maybe we get a severe warned storm west of the Cascades 1 to 3 times a year, and those are usually isolated events that most of the area will miss. You can live here 10 years and never get included in a warning polygon. The biggest issue is not getting sufficient warmth coupled with instability. Warm surface plus cold mid-levels. If we have a warm surface layer, it's usually warm aloft and vice versa. Chris has even got a sounding here that I'll throw in the video for what we're looking at for severe risk. That's a Euro sounding for Portland, 21Z. And nice to see the EL above the minus 40 line, he's saying. So storms pop up. It could be easy enough to get lightning, Chris Calais is saying about those storms down there. Okay, let's get into the details. But before we do, we'll just check into the battle board here. Well, the atmospheric river's still making conditions wet down there. So we have a rainfall warning still in effect for Fraser Valley East, including Hope. Rain at times heavy, continuing this morning, and gradually ease to periods of light rain this afternoon. By the time you get this, it may start to be tapering off. And rain will taper off for sure by Tuesday morning. So going to start clearing down there for the south of you like it is here. You can tell by how sunny it is in here that we are in a nice position here. Okay, so West Kootenay Lake, Arrow Lake, Slocan, Highway 3, Paulson Summit to Kootenay Pass. You got messy road conditions due to rain on snow. Water pooling and localized flooding is now happening due to moderate rainfall accumulation and snow melting. The snow melting will continue on Tuesday and Wednesday due to freezing levels further rising to up to 3,000 meters. Up to 10,000 feet it's going to be above zero. A 2-day weather system will continue to move across southern BC today. It's day 2. Snow levels will rise to 1,700 meters this morning, then 2,000 meters by the afternoon. For Highway 3, Paulson Summit and Kootenay Pass, rain on snow will give messy road conditions today. For the towns of West Kootenay, Kootenay Lake, Arrow Lake, Slocan regions, total rainfall accumulations may reach 20 to 30 centimeters tonight. The clearing trend is likely on Tuesday and Wednesday as the high ridge of high pressure builds. Freezing levels will rise, will continue up to 3,000 meters during the day. Mountain snow melting may give rise to more pooling and localized flooding. That's about all we got on the board for BC. And a couple of special weather statements over in Ontario right now. We can just look at them briefly. 10 centimeters of snow possible in some of those regions in Ontario before Tuesday morning. And if we go over to New Brunswick, we got snowfall warning for them. Up in the highlands of Cape Breton, I got a late sweat wind warning with 110k gusts there. And of course, up on the Newfoundland side or the Wreck House side, we got the Wreck House wind area, 100 kilometer an hour for Wreck House. That's why they call it Wreck House, my friends. So here we are looking at the 500 millibar animation. For those of you who don't watch this show very much and don't know much about weather, the 500 millibar area would be your jet stream. So that's basically the delivery system for the weather. As you can see, delivery system is targeting southern BC right now. Watch the ridging come up. Boom! Look at that warmth into BC. Then we got that new storm developing through the week, making that instability for our friends down south. And you can see next storm system will be hitting into California sometime by April 1st. So that's a little look at things. It's going to stay warm in southern BC, while northern BC still hitting zero a lot, I think, as you go further north of Prince George over the next week. You're still not going to be getting the total benefit of this big warm-up that we are getting down south, unfortunately for you. So here's where we're at right now. You can see that low pressure system in Ontario right now, which is why they have some special weather statements for you there. And as you can see, this mess is going to be moving up into the maritime provinces, which is why we got the late sweat wind warnings and some snowfall, things like that. Meanwhile, in BC, southern BC taking most of it, while northern BC starts drying out. See that high pressure starting to build. Look at that nice warm ridging up into BC. You can see the red line now reaching up north of Kamloops, more or less, or up to Kamloops, where you're clearly below or above zero all times of the day. So you are no longer slipping back below. Okay, now we're on Wednesday. Keep in mind that the time listed here will be for UTC. So that's midnight UTC, of course, is at Greenwich Mean Time. So it's going to flip over. It's going to say Thursday. Keep in mind that's still Wednesday, our time it's talking about. And here's that instability up into the States where you could see some of those severe storms, maybe see some storms on Vancouver Island, see some storms up the Cascades, see some storms into Washington State, and maybe even a little bit down there in Oregon where we're going on here. Meanwhile, a little bit of mess down there in Texas. Our storm in Ontario is starting to move off. And look at that. Big time precip by the time we're hitting into late Thursday, Friday for southern BC. Most of that's going to fall as rain for you. Up into the central parts of BC, we'll be looking at snow later this week still. And the Caribou probably taking a bit of a miss, but there's our big mid-latitude cyclone. That's what we're looking at next week. And look at that. Snowfall across the prairies. Coming in by March 28th with some freezing rain and risks like that down the south end of Saskatchewan, down in the corner there towards Manitoba. So we'll be watching that move through there. I'm sure Justin at Weather Center Manitoba will have all kinds of things to say about that. Looks like a severe weather outbreak on the 29th area-ish down there in the States. Some of the same areas that have been seeing tornado weather and whatnot. So that's unfortunate for them. And then look at the freezing rainstorms and whatnot we might see come across Lake Superior, come across Ontario at that time. So as we're getting into the end of the month, sort of a dangerous system, it looks like, heading towards Ontario. We'll have to keep our eye on that over the next bunch of days. If, of course, if you live in that part of the country, find a local forecaster, get onto Instant Weather Ontario or something like that. Looks like some severe storms and whatnot moving through the States at that time by the end of this month. Okay. Here we got the ridging going up today all the way into the Yukon Northwest Territories, a little bit above zero there. It won't last for you guys, unfortunately, but it will last for southern British Columbia. It will last for southern Alberta for the most part over the next bunch of days. And we'll skip ahead here and look at the warmth. Look at the warmth all the way up into, look at that, some warm temperatures. So the piece, you get a little bit of a time. You get a little bit of a warm time. Yeah, this ridging will help you. I mean, I didn't mean to mislead you and say that you'd be too much below zero. But if you look at what I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in the long run, when this storm comes through, it's going to drag the cold back down for you guys. So northern BC looks like for a lot of the next week, that cold will come back down on you. I mean, it's not extreme cold or anything out of the question, nothing that you're not really used to at this time of year. But as you look into the long run, seems like that low will drag the cold down, will keep a lot of, especially northeastern British Columbia, still hitting below zero often over the next week or two. Okay, let's go back and look at our developing storm here, because that's what we're really interested in. Here's our storm developing, what we're going to be looking at. 997 on Tuesday afternoon, sure. We're going to skip ahead a little bit, watch her drop down, 993. We're going to skip ahead a little bit, watch her drop down. Now she's 984, getting deeper, deeper, deeper. Here we are, Wednesday, 7 in the morning. This is the time period we're really interested in, really focused on. You can see those thunderstorms starting near Seattle early in the day. We are expecting that these will be fast-moving thunderstorms when they do kick off. Could see some of that action coming into southern British Columbia as they move to the northeast quite fast. You can see these areas down by Osoyoos, into the mountains there through Bridesville, I'm sure, Anarchist Mountain area, seeing a line of thunderstorms pop off there. And then the big show starts off later in the day. Victoria maybe, Vancouver Island maybe, seeing some flashes, heavy rain through the coast, and strong line of thunderstorms overnight even at 11 degrees in Spokane, 3 degrees in Trail. So you can see where the temperature variation is there that would help feed that. So we're looking at possibly a pretty good thunderstorm outbreak at that time for some of those same areas we're just looking at. And now we see that low digs in, sitting out there, 982, just sending the nastiness into the province. Now we're getting snow in the north again, so we're back below zero, like I said you'd be. That moving all the way almost from Winnipeg up to Meadow Lake, Edmonton, over to Fort St. John, right? Seeing a long line of snow. That's what we've seen on our image earlier. We'll be waiting to see if some of this turns into freezing rain down the south as it goes through. This clipper here digging in deep. Look at some of these high snow totals for the looks like there'll be some pretty heavy snow falling into that Pine Pass area. I'm clicking on it, but it doesn't seem to want to go anything. So 3 to 5 centimeters over the course of 3 hours, like some pretty heavy snowfall rates falling for you there. Almost through this week now, because we're going to stop it this week. A little bit of instability still lingering in Washington State on Thursday. Could see a little bit of lightning down there still, and then you can see this whipping heavy rain into the Olympic Mountains. Heavy rain coming up towards south end of Vancouver Island. Heavy snow there, all points north of Edmonton through to Bonnyville up towards Cold Lake and whatnot. That long stretch over to Fort St. John, Meadow Lake, and now we're starting to see that freezing rain risk we were talking about. Friday, 1 in the morning. Anybody who's long hauling across Canada on Friday morning, I am concerned about your safety. Of course, that's what I do here is I get concerned about people. And watching how that next low is going to make Friday probably a messy story. So we got multiple rounds of messiness coming at us. We got a couple days where it's going to be nice, a couple days where it's going to be warm across the board in BC. Southern BC seeing their spring now. It's not going to drop back down, I don't think, much below zero for us again. So that's great. Well, maybe for me here in Wells, sure. But look at that, 12 in Williams Lake this Friday. That's nice weather, man. There's that long line of freezing rain that we're seeing. That's going to start coming across by the weekend into Ontario. There it is. Could we see freezing rain in Toronto Friday night? That would be a disaster for people commuting and doing things. I'm sure a lot of that's all those exclamation marks. That is your freezing rain moniker. That's your indicator. That's the computer's way of trying to tell you that there's something going on here that is not good. So freezing rain potential for Ontario. And then we start the weekend off with that low, moving on out. And when we come to our next forecast video, we'll have to address this weekend somewhat independently and differently. I hope that gave you a little taste on what we're going to see this week and give you a little bit of an idea where we could see some of that, thunderstorms, maybe even severe thunderstorm. We could see our first severe thunderstorm watch. We could see a first severe thunderstorm warning in southern BC. It's possible on Wednesday. I'm not giving it a high chance that those storms will remain potent when they get across into BC, but if they're fast moving, if they come at the right time of day, they got the right heat, they fit the right environment, it's still possible we could see some of those storms be quite strong on the BC side, even though the marginal risk for tornadoes is still on the Washington side of the border. Anyways, hit like, share, subscribe. I got the kids eating pizza with me right here, right now. You probably didn't realize that while I was making this video, I've had my own little... These are my producers. This is my director over there, Whale, and my producer, Willow, of the channel here. That's right. And you can talk to them. If you have any questions about advertising or becoming a sponsor of the channel, you can talk to my producer. That's me for this afternoon, friends. Talk to you next time. Bye now.